Guys, I've told my horror story before with S Corp clients, and how do you know what reasonable comp is? My horror story is when they went after that CPA who was a friend of mine for $125,000, arguing that he knew and that he knew better and that he should have made sure his clients took reasonable comp. I'm a huge fan of RC reports. RC reports, it's about $1,400 a year. We're charging the S corps that come to us under audit $750 a piece. We'll probably make between $10,000 and $20,000 with RC reports. But if you have S corp or C corp clients, they have to each year get a report, and the report is as simple as possible. RC Reports has a huge database of businesses. It will give you a report that you can rely on. And so far, to date, when we produce that report, not a single auditor has challenged it. The critical thing right now is for your clients to get that report to support the number they're taking on the return that you're taking on that return that you're signing. Best way to do it, RC Reports. Go check it out. Okay, you can find them. It's trn.rcreports.com. Again, trn.rcreports.com. Go there, you'll save $100. It will change your practice, create an annuity stream for you, and bulletproof your clients' corporate returns. The Tax Rep podcast is now proudly partnered with Nice Job, the experts in reputation marketing. Reviews are so important for attracting new clients. Before Nice Job, I would ask people to leave reviews, but they would usually forget, and I didn't have a way to stay on top and remember to follow up with them. That's where Nice Job comes in. Their smart follow-up campaign recognizes who hasn't left a review yet and automatically sends carefully timed reminders that can increase your chances of getting a review by 300%. I tried Nice Job for Tax Rep, and it's been a game changer. We added 33 five-star reviews in our first month, and our Google business profile is like a magnet for new customers. You can try Nice Job for free for 14 days and get 50% off your first 3 months by visiting nicejob.grsm.io/taxrep. nicejob.grsm.io/taxrep. I'm going to put a link in the description of the podcast. Try it. It will be a game changer for your business as well. How do I manage my tax rep practice? How do I get transcripts? How do I track what is going on with the IRS with every single one of my client cases? How do we complete the offer forms, the powers of attorney, everything? We use Tax Help software. Tax Help software is the cornerstone of our practice. We use it for its intelligent ordering. Every single night, it will update the transcripts on our clients, so we will see things happen long before those letters even go to the mail. We can then, react. We can let the client know. We can get all the transcripts we need to determine what our client's best options are, when is the debt going to expire, and we can fill in all of the IRS forms and get them filed accurately, the analysis done correctly. If you're interested in giving it a test, go to taxhelpsoftware.com, use promo code TAXREPTRIAL, all one word, all caps. You'll get a free 2-week trial. Again, that's taxhelpsoftware.com, TAXREPTRIAL, all caps, for a free 2-week trial. If you love it and want to buy it, use TAXREP10, capital, all caps, TAXREP10, TAXREP10, all caps, one word. You'll save 10% on your purchase. It will be the engine that runs your tax rep practice, just like it's what we use for ours. Hey, everyone. Thank you for joining me on this week's Tax Rep Network podcast. I am joined by a very special friend of mine. Alex Oxford is here. If you don't know Alex, he is the founder of Tax Valet. And if you don't know what Tax Valet is, you're about to find out because, and Alex, I'm excited you're here because sales tax is a problem. A lot of accountants don't understand it. Certainly business owners don't understand it. And most people are worried about the IRS. The states are far more aggressive than the IRS is. They have far fewer rules, far fewer taxpayer protections. The IRS could put somebody out of business. They have to work at it, not the state. They'll go pull your sales tax permit and you're done.
Hmm.
And so it's a very cool service. I really would like people to know more about it. Why don't you just tell us about Tax Valley and what gave you the idea to start this?
Yeah, sure. I mean, so at a super high level, I started my career on the sales tax software side of things. So I was the one doing marketing for sales tax software, and I interfaced with the product development team and the sales team to try to figure out how do we sell more sales tax software. And we just kept running into the same customer satisfaction issues no matter what we did, where businesses would buy the software, and all the sales tax software kind of has the same pitch, like just buy our software and everything's going to magically be taken care of for you. And then they'd sign up for it. And then later on, they'd figure out, oh, I still need to figure out where I have sales tax nexus. And then I have to register for permits myself. And then, oh my God, there's an audit and you're not taking care of it for me. Or wait, you're telling me I have to monitor the state laws as they're changing, and on and on and on. So I went out to try to find a partner that we could partner with to sell the sales tax software, and then the professional service would deal with everything else so that we could sell this like one package where all the problems would go away. I couldn't find anyone. There was no one out
How
there.
successful was that?
It was super unsuccessful. So then I tried to convince management, let me start a professional service department. And this was at Sobos Compliance, or one of the big sales tax software companies. And I was unsuccessful. So one thing led to the next, and I founded Tax Valet really to be that all-inclusive one-stop shop for small, mid-sized businesses to really, truly take sales tax off their plate so that they can focus on growing their business.
Right. And this is an area, we were just talking about this, and I told Alex I'm going to quiz him on all 12,000 sales tax rates. Oh no, I mean, but the point is, you have states, you have taxing jurisdictions like the city of New York. You have, I think it's parishes in Louisiana.
Yep.
It gets highly complicated. Now add to that the layer of economic nexus. I'm selling into another state. When do I, and I've had people tell me, oh, it's 200 transactions or like $100,000. No, it isn't. Some of them are down to 100 transactions. So managing all of that, and again, we see this all the time. Clients buy software, they're sticking, garbage in, garbage out. They're sticking stuff in the software. And the first time they realize it's wrong is when the audit happens. The other thing is, a lot of the tax professionals we see that come through, or the clients that come in with a sales tax problem, I should say, the pro they'll do the federal return. They're letting the client do their own sales tax. And the problem is, and you must see this, the client says, all right, look, I have 100,000 a month of sales and 50,000 is exempt. So I'm going to report 70 or 50. So I'm going to report 50, the balance. What the state sees is, well, you have 1.2 million of sales on your federal Schedule C. We only see 600,000 audit. You're underreporting. Now, once, and by the way, if you're listening to this, if you haven't been through this, it's a lot of fun. Once the sales tax auditors are in, they're not leaving without finding something.
Yep.
So even if you could then explain it, I find they're going to the point where they will. I was just dealing with one of my tax rep members on something like this morning. They'll come up with a way to come up with more tax. For instance, even though everything matched on this client, it was one of these where they didn't match. They could show the non-taxable sales, not subject to sales tax. Well, the auditor said, but despite everything tying out, they just didn't like the number. So they're going to use an industry standard, and now hands them so it's lovely Connecticut, hands them a bill. And because it's more than 20% change, it's fraud and attempt to evade. Now they go back 10 years from when you opened up the business and hands them a bill for $400,000. For sales tax, we can all almost agree they don't owe. It's, so having clients get this right out of the gate is critical. So for Tax Valet, do you deal with taxpayers directly? Do you deal with the tax pros? Both? How does it work?
We work with both. We always want to have the business, like the end client, involved in the decision-making process because a lot of these are really important business decisions. Do I get a permit? Do I not get a permit? And we don't want the liability of not engaging with the business owner directly. And our CPA partners, for example, don't want the liability of making the decision for their clients. So we work very closely with our CPA, accountant, bookkeeper, CFO partners to have really tight relationships with them and their clients, and to make sure that the systems and processes that we have set up work really well for them. And we work directly with clients as well. But many of our clients, they say, just interact with my CPA on a monthly basis and just call me in when I need to sign something or make a decision. That is what 90% of our clients do. I want to comment on your audit example here. We've been tracking sales tax audit statistics since day one at Tax Valet. And so we've seen pretty much like an even amount of businesses being audited on average on a monthly basis up until about a year ago. And that's when we really started to see just these random periodic audits rising. And we've seen 150% increase in audits since 12 months ago. And it's not evenly distributed. There are certain states like California, for example, or Illinois. Those are the big ones. I think it's something like over half of our open audits right now are between those two states alone. So it really helps to know and to work with an advisor who has this sort of breadth and depth of experience so they know exactly where the biggest risks are and really where you should be focusing your attention so you get the best bang for your buck in terms of compliance dollars spent.
And those and the big East Coast, New York,
Yep.
Florida certainly.
Hmm.
So it's, by the way, so it's not just a Democratic thing. It's a well, here's why. Where are people doing business remotely? So I'll give you an example. There are California sales tax auditors in Massachusetts and in New York permanently. What they're doing is they're auditing those businesses that they know are doing business in California. So when it comes to being aggressive, I don't know that anybody outdoes California. Connecticut could give them a run for
Probably
their money.
Texas. Texas, they have these
Yep.
private companies that they
Headhunting.
contract with, and
Yep.
they go out. They're private audit agencies that get permission from the state to go and go fishing to try to find companies,
And
and
they
they
keep
get
a
a
percentage.
commission. They
They
get a
keep a
percentage.
percentage. Yeah. Oh no,
So
no.
unethical.
Years ago, I worked at KPMG in the state and local tax group. We had two senior managers leave, and they asked me. They said, "Do you want to come with us?" They were becoming bounty hunters. So they set up their own sales tax shop. They basically then marketed to the states. You don't have to pay us. We just get to keep a third of whatever we find. So now you have people whose direct incentive is to find money. And so it's well, and by the way, the big firms do it in reverse. So I went in and we would do a reverse sales tax audit. And the way that works is you go into a big company and basically say, we want a third of whatever we can find that you've overpaid. So they will then go, and by the way, when you're an associate, this is misery. I'm in a hotel. I lived in Boston at the time. I'm in a hotel out in nowhere, Connecticut, for weeks on end, going through millions of invoices because you'd identify they're paying on this. This isn't subject to sales tax. And we would be going through in an Excel spreadsheet, invoice number, date, amount. I wanted to shoot myself. I mean, it was the worst work, but I think KPMG found something like $47 million in sales tax refunds. You get to keep a third of that, but it's not bad.
Not
Um,
bad.
oh yeah, no. So no, so so it's a huge issue. So if I'm an accountant, and I think most of our audience are tax pros, we do have some business owners, I think, but mostly tax pros. So let's say I'm a CPA. How can I work with you, Alex? How do I work with Tax Valet? Do I just like give my clients a card and have them call you? is there a partnership program? I mean, how is it best for the accountants listening to this to be like, this is a good idea because I hate doing this stuff, and they just screw it up. So what happens? I'm going to contact Tax Valet, and then what?
Well, I mean, before I get into that, maybe I should mention why it's so important to have some sort of advisor or just some solution for your clients, whether it's Tax Valet or someone else. We saw a lawsuit pop up. This was, I think it was 3 or 4 months ago. The law firm was being sued. Sorry, not law firm, accounting firm. The accounting firm was being sued by their client because the accounting firm failed to tell them, hey, you need to be paying sales tax. You might have crossed nexus. And there is this assumption that the accounting firm would tell them, hey, you have an obligation. You really need to look into this. Even if they weren't going to handle it, there is this obligation and like duty to notify, which didn't happen. And the accounting firm ended up losing and it cost them a ton of money. So even if you're like, you know what, I don't deal with sales tax, well, does it say that in your agreement with your clients? Is it clear that you're not advising them in any way? If not, you might want to get that taken care of. But the thing is, so many of these clients, they just assume that you're going to be their tax advisor. If you're their tax advisor, you're their tax advisor. And they don't think about income tax and sales tax and franchise tax and property. I mean, they don't think about these things separately. They all just have it in one bucket in their head, tax. And if you
Right.
don't manage it, you need someone else who can. But in terms of how we partner with our CPAs, accountants, bookkeepers, really, we like to form tight partnerships. And for us, it's about having quality over quantity. And so the very first thing we want to do is we want to earn your trust, right? So like just work with us closely on a client and let us prove to you that we're going to perform, we're going to be able to do everything that we say we're going to do because we want to earn your business and work with you and all of your clients for the next decade. And we know how much this relationship is built on trust. And all it takes is one mistake or us to drop the ball with one client, and that trust can be ruined. And thankfully, we've done a really good job, not just with our accounting partners, but all of our clients to make sure that that trust is maintained. I mean, I used to be able to say we only have 5-star reviews. I think we've got 100 public reviews now, and literally 99 are 5 stars and one's 4 stars. Maybe that's more believable. But we we are like really, really insane about the amount of support that we provide. And so with our partners, we do have a partner program where we do some revenue sharing. So we'll share a percent of the revenue that comes in, or you can have that given as a discount to your client, or we can donate it to a nonprofit. I mean, anything really. We can also come in and provide free training for you and your employees for things to watch out for. You also get a dedicated partner manager who has sales tax experience and expertise. So if you have questions, hey, I have this client situation, what should I do? Like, we're here to be your ally and your supportive partner every step of the way.
Well, that's critical because, as you said, well, why is it so important? You can have clients, and again, I keep thinking about like the Wayfair decision. And for those listening, if you're not aware of this, it's what created this idea that states, it used to be under Wrigley and some of the older cases, you had to have physical presence. So um, let's take example. I'm shipping, books. I have no presence in California. I don't have a salesperson there. I don't have an office there. I'm not going to register. I'm not going to collect California tax. Well, with the expansion of the internet and online sales, South Dakota went after Wayfair, who, by the way, Wayfair actually had in its commercial, look at the sales tax savings. So the Supreme Court found in favor of, look, years and years ago, this would have been a nightmare. Not really anymore,
Well,
right?
it's still a nightmare.
Well,
It's just not
but
as bad of a nightmare.
right, well, and, the technology, Wayfair knows where it's selling,
Right.
right? I mean, it wasn't like the old days.
Yeah.
And actually, I have a really funny, interesting, sales tax audit story. It was with California back in Boston, where their sales were actually declining. So the auditors came in, and the earliest 2 years, which were big numbers, were manual. So we had bankers' boxes floor to ceiling with invoices. They had just computerized. This is how old this is. And so we had a report, but their sales numbers had fallen significantly. So and so they were like, we're going to make them go through the bank. I'm like, no, no, no. Let's lay it all out, explain. Here's what they're going to do because they're lazy. They're going to review the computer report, come up with an error rate and apply it back. And they're going to take, it would end up being like 15 grand and they're going to take the check and run.
Yep.
If they really did the whole thing, it was more like 90,000. A month later, the client's controller called and said, the auditors did exactly what you said they did. They reviewed the report. They opened a few boxes. They left. A week and a half later, they just issued a report. They just took it, error rate done. And we saved a lot of money. Today, with computer systems and everything else, it's easier to do. So Supreme Court said, hey, states, as long as it's reasonable, you can tax based on economic nexus. They no longer have to have physical presence in the state. Well, South Dakota happened to make it. I think it was over $200,000 of sales. It was over 100,000 of sales or 200 independent individual sales, either by number or dollar amount. I think within a week, like 5 states passed the exact same statute.
We had like a dozen states that already passed it, and it said as soon as the Supreme Court rules, if it rules in favor of South Dakota, this law goes into effect.
Right.
They were just foaming at the mouth, waiting for it.
Well, look how much money. I mean, they're not capturing. So the point being is, if you're a CPA or EA and you have your client and they're down the street from you, don't think they don't have a sales tax problem in another state. If they're shipping stuff or selling through Amazon, and Amazon creates all kinds of interesting issues. We had one without telling the client, they moved their inventory from California to Washington State.
Happens all the time.
All of a sudden, Washington State came in and said, you owe us money. And again, for those of you who aren't state and local experts, many states will use a 3-factor for apportioning sales. They all know, some just use sales, but some will use sales, inventory, and payroll. All of a sudden, they had not only sales into Washington State, they had all their inventory sitting, and the client didn't know about it. And Washington State came in with a bill for $1.4 million. And in Amazon's agreement, you agree that they can put your inventory wherever it is convenient for them. So,
well, thankfully,
it's a problem.
Thankfully, today we've got marketplace facilitator laws. So the marketplaces are calculating, collecting, remitting tax on behalf of the merchants. But the issue is, if your inventory is being stored by Amazon in one of these other states, all of your non-Amazon sales are now taxable as well. So if you sell on Shopify on your own website, you still have to consider that.
Right. And so this actually can, for the little person down the street, this can actually get quite complicated. And so Alex, to bring it back, one of the big benefits of partnering is access to your team. I mean, I do state and local tax. I'm not a state and local tax expert. I have a partner that does nothing but this. So the benefit of, 1, making sure the clients are taken care of, 2, having somebody, looking at this, but 3, also the resource to be able to go to and say, hey, Alex, it'd probably be somebody on the team. Alex, my clients now started doing X, right? They're now in South Dakota. Do we need to register? How do we register? All of that. They now have a resource versus the accountant trying to go online and figure it out themselves.
Absolutely. And what we always tell our partners too is we only want to take on your client if we know we're going to knock it out of the park and it's going to be an 11 out of 10 experience for them. So our commitment to all of our partners is, if we're not the best fit for your client, we're going to go through our Rolodex and we're going to figure out where they can get help. If that means sending them to a partner or another colleague who, is running a sales tax firm, we're happy to make the introduction because we really want what's in the best interest of whoever comes into contact with our business. We're really like, are we trying to make money? Yeah, we are. We're a for-profit business, but at the end of the day, we're looking to really just be of service to everyone in the world. I mean, we're about to become a B corporation for those who know what that is. It's very exciting for us.
No, it's and this is an area that's just going to keep growing. And by the way, again, with a with an eye to business, if you're listening to this, one, yes, you can shift your clients over. Yes, you can partner, make money. Yes, you now have a resource. Now you have the number when Alex, when my tax rep members, first come on, it's always like, well, I want to get clients. I tell them, you know what, you can market for tax liens and levies and sales tax audits. Start marketing for sales tax issues. Why? One, they're those national companies, right? And settle for pennies on the dollar. They're on pay per click. They're bidding up all that stuff. I can assure you, no one is doing that for sales tax in your state. So when I go blogging, I can blog about liens and levies, and it'll rank. If I start blogging about the Connecticut Department of Revenue and sales tax audits, withholding tax audits, sales tax appeal, everything I can come up with. In fact, we have like 35 different topics in our members area just about sales tax. Those will rank instantaneously. In fact, I actually had a blog entry for 2 days ranked higher than our Connecticut Department of Revenue website, which never happens. The point being, there are tons of small businesses around, landscapers, restaurants, contractors. They're always in trouble, right? Because it's complicated. They're trying to be everything, right? They're trying to be the builder, the janitor, the accountant, and they should really just stick to building. They're always in trouble. So one, not only can you help your clients, can you partner, there's an opportunity with the partnership with Tax Valet to start expanding into more state and local tax, because I now have a partner that is an expert. There's a huge need for it.
Yeah.
Does
I mean,
anyone see opportunity here?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen this happen a lot with our partners where they were losing potential clients because the client would say, well, if you can't take care of all my taxes, I don't want to work with you. So many CPAs just don't want to touch sales tax. And so they would be losing deals because someone would say, I want you to take care of everything. But now our partners say, well, we work closely with Tax Valet. You'll work with them, we'll work with them. And it's kind of like having a one-stop shop for you. They don't have to lose that client anymore because they have a sales tax solution that they trust and they know they can depend on.
And now they have an advantage going into the market saying, we have a state and local partner. No matter where you're doing business, we can handle this.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I think it was a terrific business idea, because I know the major software companies, because look of what we do, we hear from them. They're always marketing to us. But noticing that, seeing the disconnect between end user and software was big, and this is an area that's only going to get bigger. So listen, for folks listening that want to get a hold of you, Alex, this sounds great. I'd like to talk to someone at Tax Valet. How do they find you?
Yeah, so our website is thetaxvalet.com. If you also just go to taxvalet.com, that'll work as well. TAXVALET. And then up in the top menu there under free resources, we've got a section called Partner Program. And that is where we talk about the partner program, what we do. We've got some videos from some of our partners talking about what it's like to work with us. And then if you scroll down on that page, we have a little booking link so that you can meet with our partner manager so that you can just have a conversation and figure out if we're right for each other.
Right. And I will put the link in the description below so people can find you. And no, I think it's a terrific service. It's what we're using now. We partnered with Tax Valet, and I think if you're listening, this is something you want to check out. All right. Again, one, in terms of work-life balance, all the other things we talk about, work-life balance, you're focusing. One, this is a service that you can offload and make money. Two, it now gives you a platform to leverage and go get more clients, right? And handle the audits and the things that, at least in the tax rep world, we like to do. So no, this has been great. Alex, thank you. Everyone listening, I will put the link below. Go talk to Tax Valet. And Alex, thank you for taking the time. And when something big breaks, we'll drag you back.
Thank you, Eric.